Right now, there is a number in your head, the price of a camera, or a lens, or a light, the one thing that will finally fix everything. Better work, better clients, better money. I know that number because I had one too, and I got there. I bought all of it. I want to show you what's on the other side. My name is Max Golov. I am a cinematographer and I co-own a rental house and a film studio in Europe. I built all of it from zero after moving to a new country with one suitcase. Everything you see behind me is worth about 200,000 euros. Cameras, lenses, lights, gimbals, everything I dreamed about when I was 22. In an earlier video, I mentioned very briefly that I barely shot anything for 4 years. But this time I'm not going to talk about feelings, I'm going to talk about money. I'm not going to show you my books, I have a partner and that's not mine to share. But I will show you my own numbers, what I bought over 15 years, what is cost, what came back and what didn't, and how much I actually make right now with all of the behind me. No fluff, by the end of this video you will know which gear pays for itself and which doesn't, and how to see the difference before you buy it, not 6 years later. I also made a page on my website for this video. It's a breakdown of 7 ways to make money around the camera, what each one costs to start and what it really pays. It's free, there is nothing to sign up for and the link is in the description. Let's start with the good part. 2010, I had a small wedding video company. My first real purchase was a Sony camcorder, mini DV tape based, around $2,000. It paid for itself for the first year. Then the Canon 5D Mark II camera, the first still camera that shoot decent video, with one cheap 50mm lens. It also paid for itself in the first year. Then we bought a few more of them for multi-camera shoots, some other lenses, a Canon 6D. In total, my partner and I put in about 10,000. All of it came back, fast and without drama. And here's the part that matters most. This is the reason I'm making this video. We took over the wedding market in our city, but not with cameras. Before us, a wedding video meant one long recording, start to finish, everything that happened. We were the first ones to make short films cut to music. We changed the product itself. Yes, the camera gave us that soft cinematic look, that's true. But that was the second thing. The first thing was the decision about what we were selling. If we had bought the same cameras and kept making those long recordings, nothing would have happened. Remember that, I'll come back to it at the end. Now, the most expensive mistake of my life, although I'm still not sure it was a mistake. You will see why. End of 2015, I was tired of weddings. I wanted to get into the real industry. Big sets, big crews. So I sold my apartment and I bought a Red Epic Dragon and 3 Zeiss Compact Primes. 35, 50, 85, about 30,000 euros in total. I wasn't buying a camera, I was buying a way in. I wanted to work as a DP and build connections. And here's the first thing I didn't understand. I lived in a small city, there was no industry for camera like that. I had the camera, there was no market for it. The closest market was 500 kilometers away, in the capital. So, for the next few years, I basically lived between 2 cities. I'd go there for a job, stay for weeks, sometimes months. I never fully moved. In the end, I left the country instead. The first jobs came after 3 or 4 months, but to get real contacts and the steady work, it was around a year. So, it wasn't the camera doing the work, it was those 500 kilometers and the people I met over the year. Now, the second thing I got wrong. When you spend 30,000 on a camera, you start shooting everything with it. Not because it fits, because you own it, and renting something else feels like a waste of money. I shot weddings on Red, I shot factory tours for corporate clients on Red. The Red is heavy and slow, it needs perfect light, it gets noisy in the shadows. At a wedding the light is whatever it is, usually just the lamps in the room. A small Sony would have done a better job. I put a huge amount of money into a camera, and because of that my work got worse. That's the trap, expensive gear doesn't remove your old mistake. It just makes it sharper and more expensive. By the way, tell me in the comments, what's the one thing on your list right now? The one that will change everything. I'm curious what people are saving for in 2026. So, how did it end? Before I immigrated, I sold the Red and the Zeiss lenses. I got about 12,000 euros for them. 30,000 became 12. And that 12 became part of the first gear purchase for my rental house. But here's what I actually got. I got onto real sets, commercials, music videos, short films. I got onto crew work where you're one of many, not one-man band. And I saw from the inside how the rental market works. 6 years later, that knowledge was the only reason I was able to open a rental house in a foreign country. You can't walk into this business off the street. So that camera never came back as money. It came back as access. And that's the first thing I want to take from this video. Gear comes back in different ways. Sometimes as money, sometimes as access. Those are two very different things, and you can't mix them whenever you deciding if something is worth the price. I looked at every purchase I made in 15 years, and I found one thing that explains all of them. Gear bought for demand that already exists paid for itself. Gear bought for the future you want doesn't. The camcorder and the Canon 5D Mark II, we bought those for work that was already booked. They paid back in a year. The Red I bought for a dream, it never paid back in money. Now look at those three purchases side by side, because the whole pattern is right there. The two that paid were mid-priced, light and work for anything you point in them at. The one that didn't was expensive, heavy and only made sense for one kind of job. A kind of job that wasn't happening where I lived. That's the rule. What pays is boring, flexible and mid-priced. What doesn't pay is expensive, heavy and specific. And you want to know the worst part? I made the same mistake again years later with the business's money. There is a shelf in this building full of gear that almost never goes out. I know every item on it by name. I know what each one cost, and I know exactly why I got it wrong. I'm going to walk you down that shelf, item by item, with the real numbers in my next video, because that one deserves its own episode. For now, just take the rule with you. Now the part you clicked for. I sit on 200,000 euros of the gear. Here's what it pays me. The rental house pays me a salary, 650 euros a month. You heard that right, 200,000 euros on the shelves and 650 euros per month. We recently hired 2 people and we're thinking about raising our own salaries. But for 4 years, everything the business made went straight back into the gear. That's how a rental house works. To grow, you keep buying. A new camera comes out, you pay 5,000 or the client goes to someone who has it. Next, stock footage. I've been shooting stock since 2018. I have around 2,000 clips. This past year I uploaded almost nothing, and it still pays me around 300 euros a month. When I uploaded regularly it was 500 to 700. That's the only truly passive money I have, and it's what carried me through my first year as an immigrant. Next, e-commerce clothing photography for online shops. 2 regular clients. Once a month they send me clothes and I shoot them on a mannequin. Small but steady. And finally, actual shooting. On average I work on set 5 days a month. Sometimes as a DP, sometimes as an assistant or a gaffer. 5 days in a good month. That's it. That's what it pays a guy with 200,000 euros of gear behind him. Now the honest other side. The most valuable thing the rental gave me isn't money. I arrived in a country where I had nothing. Today people know us here and across Europe. We know the local market and we have a lot of partners we work with all the time. People come to us to shoot. We get called onto sets to help productions from other countries. That's exactly what the Red bought me years ago, excess. Only this time I didn't pay 30,000 for it. I paid 4 years of my life. And I still don't feel rich. Money is still hard for me in a new country. But I have a business that's growing, and that's a kind of investment a normal job simply can't give you. It just pays out slowly, very slowly. So let's say you have 5,000. Here's what I'll do today. 1. Learn. I never really invested in my own education, and I think that was a mistake. If 10 years ago I had to put 30,000 onto learning into one strong project instead of a camera, I'd probably be a much better cinematographer today. Talking about film school, its real value now isn't the knowledge, and honestly it isn't even the practice. Most schools are weak there. Its value is the people. You live with a crew. That matters even more if you're in a new country and you know nobody. 2. Shoot for free. I still do it. Projects with no money but feel freedom. And if you want good gear for it, talk to rental houses. Come with a script, your plan, treatment. Rental houses help people like that. I know this from both sides of the counter now. It's not embarrassing to ask. Number 3. Your website and how you show yourself. Website, social media, LinkedIn. You can build a decent site today just by talking to a chatbot. It stopped being an expense. 4. Learn AI. I built my own website with it. I rebuilt our rental platform. Right now I'm writing code for a product. I don't make money from AI directly. It just makes me several times faster. 5. Pay people. Still edit these videos myself, but I'm going to hand that over soon. Not because I can't do it, because my time should go into the script and the thinking. Don't be a one-man band. Give away everything except the thing you are best at. 6. Do the math on renting. It depends on the country. Where renting is cheap compared to project budgets, buying makes almost no sense. Where renting is expensive, buy only what you use constantly. Rent the rest per the project. It would be dishonest if I didn't say the opposite too. There are jobs where your own gear is required. A focus puller works with their own follow focus and their own monitor, their hands, and trained on that exact unit. Also, a Steadicam operator builds the rig around their own body. A drone pilot needs their own drone and constant practice. In those roles, without your own gear, you simply don't get hired. And once you have a steady flow of jobs, a basic kit makes sense. Not to save money, your own camera becomes an extension of your hand. You stop thinking about it. But here is what almost never happens. A job you lose because you don't own a piece of equipment. You can almost always rent it. In 15 years, that has basically never happened to me. Now, the part that's uncomfortable to say. When I bought that Red, I wasn't buying a camera, I was buying the right to call myself a real filmmaker. I needed to feel like a professional, and it worked. I got more confident and I went after things I wouldn't have gone after before. But that is the most expensive permission you can buy. And this is I've been going the whole video. I own 200,000 euros of gear, and I constantly feel that it isn't enough. I never have the lenses I needed to make it look the way I see it, every single time. If a guy who has lived inside the rental house for years still can't put together a kit that feels like enough, then enough doesn't exist at all. Not for me and not for you. There is never enough gear. That's not about your wallet. That's how this profession is built. So the whole idea of I'll buy this one thing and then I'm set doesn't fail because you are broke. It doesn't work for anybody. Remember the wedding company at the beginning? We didn't win with the camera. We won because we made a different product. The idea comes first. The tool comes second. The tool will show up for the idea, even if you have no money at all. So 15 years. 30,000 on a camera that came back as 12, 200,000 on the shelves, and 650 euros a month. That's my honest report. Tell me in the comments what was your best gear purchase and what was your worst. I want to see if your list looks anything like mine. And the page I made for this video is in the description. 7 ways to make money around a camera. What each one costs to start, how long before the first money comes in, and what actually pays. All from my own experience, no theory. I'll keep updating it as things change. If this was useful, subscribe. I make this breakdown regularly. This was Max Golov. See you on set.